We're going to start with the acceptance of our minutes for the meeting for February 19th.
Got a agenda tonight, or?
Oh, yeah, Megan's baby has COVID, so she's not here tonight, so she didn't print them. I can go print some if you would like one.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from last meeting.
I'll second.
Everybody in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, so the old business is the employee handbook. We don't have it printed in front of you again. At the end of the day, she kind of had to go. So we're gonna have it at the next meeting. Everything's in there that we had discussed. They're gonna come April 2nd and do a training with the employees on the new handbook. So we will wait then and have you guys actually approve it so you guys can have it in front of you for the next meeting. So, did you guys have any other questions about the handbook or what we're doing? Okay. And then the New Life Westland Church is here with, they sent in a variant sketch. I don't think we actually have to vote on that, or I just kind of wanted you guys to see it. Steve's written out the contract, but since they sent it to us, I figured you guys, if there was anything. And I think Brian had sent him like a few changes, but that's all procedural stuff for like what they're doing.
We discussed,
Yeah,
before, so.
yeah, I mean, it's everything that we discussed, so.
Do you know where y'all are in the process of getting
Please.
this approved? The
Well,
variance?
Well, we're going through that. My other
Right.
question is, several weeks ago, the last time you were gonna write up an agreement or a contract that was
Yeah.
required, so I'm not here to ask, like, what's going
We,
on.
we
with
need
that.
to get together
And
on
it's-
that. Yep,
okay.
and if you stick around or if you are gonna leave early, I'll get with you and we can schedule something while I'm here.
I have this phone number, I can give it to you,
Okay.
if you don't wanna stick around, I can give
Yeah,
him your phone number and
I
then.
sent you an email.
Yeah, you did.
I just, we're gonna be in a good
Been
weather
busy.
soon, there's
Yep.
a lot of hoops to jump through, we're
Yep.
just gonna get everything lined up.
And I think the hearing, did you say it was April 9th, Brian? When's the hearing, or the thing for the variance?
Yeah, April 9th.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be.
And he said that they could, if you guys didn't have it signed and done, that they could go ahead and still get your hearing done on the 9th, and that's not, so, but yeah, but we don't wanna hold you up, cause I know you guys are gonna be ready to go after that. Yeah.
So, am I correct in that after that's done, then I will apply for an actual permit to do it, or does that kind of take care of it?
The encroachment agreement is, there's no permit, so it
Okay,
would
so there's
be,
no like a general building permit or anything that I have to.
Well, there's gonna be a zoning permit, yeah, but the encroachment would be, kind of side item. The encroachment's gonna be the agreement between the church and the city that give them the right of way. And then the zoning will just follow the zoning ordinance, which you're gonna have that hearing on the 9th, yeah. Cover that.
so yeah, you should be go, we'll make sure we have that contract
Yep.
done, so you can get ready to go after you're done with that hearing on the 9th then. Council have any? Okay. We're gonna move on to the resolution. This is about the investment pool that we had talked about. This is a resolution to put that into place, and there's two resolutions, well, municipal order adopting an investment policy, but Steve will take over all that stuff.
This is resolution number 0305 26-1, which authorizes the city of Falmouth to participate in the Kentucky League of Cities Investment Pool Plus. And what this resolution does is it allows us to enter into that investment pool that we discussed last week. and that Sabrina Hazen and Paul Maddox will be designated as the authorized officials who can make those withdrawals or move money around, in accordance with the declaration of trust. And this would be, well, we went to the resolution. You guys are good to go. If you have any questions, happy to answer those.
I had emailed him to ask, cause he'd asked me who we were putting in, or Megan had asked me who we were putting in on the people, so I had emailed him and asked, like, who do they normally designate that to in the city? And they said the mayor, treasurer, clerk, those type people, so that's why we went with the treasurer and myself. We just need a motion in a second if you guys wanna do that.
Make a motion to accept resolution number 030526-1.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Yes.
Municipal order,
Mhm.
adopting the investment.
Yep. This is municipal order number 030526.1, municipal order of the city of Falmouth, Kentucky, in regard to an investment policy. You guys might be front and back page on yours if you're looking for it. It may just be on the back of the last one we did, or front and back this week. So what this does is it allows the mayor to enter into the model investment policy, which is attached here to this, and it's going to be this 6-page document that lays out how this will be done.
We just need a motion in a second whenever you guys are ready.
I make a motion that we accept the adopting of an investment policy.
One second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Alright, next we have, resolution 030526.2, resolution for the city of Falmouth, Pinal County. A resolution, amending the zoning fees to be charged as described in the city of Falmouth zoning ordinance. And so what we're doing here is you've got each of those different types of applications or permits that are set forth, and then the fee prescribed to those that it will then be updated and changed to.
And Brian is here and can answer any questions you guys have on this.
Now, this is for new construction, is that correct? Or
It's what?
for new construction?
Yeah, it'd be any zoning permits, you know, like accessory structures as well, signs, yeah, single family, two family, multifamily, change of use, all that stuff is layered in there, so. Yeah, anytime you need a zoning permit, this would apply to it, so, pretty similar format to our old zoning fees, but, guess it's kind of a two-part thing. We took them out of the zoning ordinance, as part of a previous amendment. So we needed to pass some type of fee per resolution, because we did a text change, I believe last year, to pass them per resolution, so we don't have to do text changes every time we want to change the fees. And the fee schedule was from, 2010 actually, so we haven't kept up with inflation on the fee schedule, so, it's not I still believe it's a community-friendly fee schedule. You know, it's just trying to catch up a little bit on reasonable fee costs. Because, for instance, like accessory structures before like $10. I mean, by the time we pull the pen out and start writing, we've already spent that up. So trying to cover the cost and everything. So.
Is that like an outbuilding?
Accessory structure is like a shed or an outbuilding.
I mean, they've got for signs and different things on here.
Yeah, the only high cost is a cell tower, but yeah. I don't think many residents are gonna build a cell tower.
Do you happen to, did you guys base it off of percentage, like what it was raised? Like, was there a certain percentage across the board, like, you know, all the fees we're gonna raise them like, say, 10%?
It's been so long, that we really didn't, typically we'd see, like in other jurisdictions where I worked, it'd be like 2 to 3% a year or whatever they look at, sometimes a little less or whatever, but over, so many years, we probably still aren't even keeping up with what probably amounts to probably 30 or 40% of what we should do. I think it's it's all over the board, I guess, like the accessory structure we're raising, it's a more dramatic percentage than we are like single families, which aren't even doubling or anything. But the bigger thing is like the commercial structures and things like that. Like if you're building a brand new commercial building, there's a lot more time and effort into something like a dollar market that's 20,000 square feet, versus something small. So didn't feel the old structure really wasn't fair to somebody with a smaller development, because they were paying the same amount as like a dollar market. So we've separated those things out and just made it a lot more user friendly, and where city staff can people look at it and try to make more sense out of it.
I just need a motion in a second, whenever you guys are done looking at it.
I make a motion to accept it, the resolution 3.05/26-2.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
The next one on your list here is resolution.
We're gonna wait on actually passing the resolution, because,
Just for discussion only.
well, I don't know, I guess maybe we could pass the resolution. So if we do that though, we would be pulling out of the Northern Kentucky Ethics Board, that joint board that they have. We would also need to create our own ethics board here locally. And then KLC would come in and make us do all the training, redo the ethics ordinance, and help us get all this stuff set up. We just need to have the board set up by the time they come in to do that. And they would go through the process of making us a certified city of ethics. So, right now, I feel the ethics is lacking. This would give the residents the opportunity that they felt that we were doing something unethical, they would come directly to our board that would be, created of people locally here, and they might feel more heard or
We had that before though, and we decided that we turned over to the Northern Kentucky ad.
What was the reasoning?
Just didn't have any complaints. It's easier to do it that way. Didn't cost anything.
And so that's why I'm saying, like, I feel you guys we should discuss that part of this, if we're gonna do that. I could reach out to the admin about some type of ethics training through them instead, but I think this would kind of let the people feel more heard here on the level of like locally here instead of, cause I've submitted ethics complaints on people before I got into this seat, and I don't really even know if I got much of a response. I don't even know what kind of response the citizens get when they make an ethics complaint to that board. I don't know anything about the board. So I feel like our ethics
Could
is
be the
lacking.
same.
So if
So
we
let's-
were to do an ethics board, who would sit on, like, who gets designated
Hold
to
on.
sit on the board? Is it?
I asked them what the makeup of the
I think
how
Yeah.
we would make what the makeup would be.
I was on it before. I think the council and the mayor appoints people.
Yeah, no, we would be appointing people to the board. We
Yeah,
would
but
create the board, but as far as the
But so I guess
dynamics.
there would be citizen participation on the board,
Yeah.
or,
Yeah.
so the citizens are represented on the board.
We could put a count, I don't know how many council people, at least no more than 3. And then we could mix it in with some citizens.
Okay. Alright, yeah, I just think if we did decide to go this route, I think citizen participation would be, another good way for the citizens to feel like they're heard because they're directly represented.
That's what it was.
I agree.
It's all citizens. It wouldn't.
I think they need at least one council person or something, well, I don't know if they're gonna be investigating themselves. But, so we'll find out the actual dynamics, but there's citizens on the board.
I mean, obviously, if we had council people on there, we could have, and when we create the board, the provisions for, in case one of those people are the subject of the ethics question, so.
And this kind of came to
And it
light.
made it more objective. Being them too, to me.
I mean, there's certainly just trade-offs to your point, like, if you have it not a third party, but like the ad, should be more or less unbiased, but again, like, do people feel heard? Like, you just make this complaint, and it goes to this mystery board, and who knows what happens after that?
Who knows what happens if they end up local?
Well, the reason this came about was because I'd asked KLC to come in to do some ethics training. And they said, oh, we can make you a certified city of ethics. I'm like, oh, great, sign us up. And then I was like, he's like, well, just make sure you have your board in place. And I was like, well, hold on, our board is up in Northern Kentucky. And he was like, well, if you're gonna go this route, you would have to separate from that. And this is kind of what they suggested, so we could get this training. And I think it would make the citizens here feel more heard.
It's like, if we-
I didn't feel heard when I complained.
How much would that cost? The
What?
training?
I think it's at 750 in here. See that right?
are we paying anything to ad for doing for us?
No.
Oh, I don't know, they've got fees for things too. I mean, I can find out what the cost difference would be to go through the ad.
I was gonna say that it'd be a quasi-governmental board, so thus they're subjected to open meetings and all that. So instead of this happening at some board in Northern Kentucky somewhere, and if you wanna go sit in on it, you have to go traveling, it's gonna happen here in town. You come, listen to it, they'll have meetings that are, regularly scheduled or announced, and then it's open meetings.
I think it would be better to bring it back into the city. I don't think that we've really been benefiting from them having, because I know I didn't feel heard when I didn't even get a response back, and this is before I think I was even on council.
Because there was a guy from, actually, his family's from Pendleton County, and he was in charge of the ethics board, and I got a reply.
Were you on council then when you made that?
Yes, ma'am.
So I was not on council, I was a citizen, and I didn't even get a response. So that's what I'm saying, I don't know what if the other citizens have had the same experience, but I do know that the citizens don't feel heard and they feel like we're doing a lot of things unethically. I think this would get us the training, it would get our staff the training, we'd be an ethics certified city, and we would have some local people back on here, so if people wanted to go complain, they'd go complain to this board, they would have their hearings here, and there'd be a lot more, I just feel more accountability, because like I said, I've never even spoken to anybody on that board, and I've been up to the ad a bunch of times. So that's just my opinion.
And I pulled the statute on this, and it doesn't give you specific makeup of the board, that would be up for you guys to decide. So how many people you want, what kind of structure, and then you'd also have to adopt your own ethics policy along with it.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what money we were spending to the ad, as opposed to like fees and all that, as opposed to what the training is gonna cost here. I know the training's like, is it annual training, or did they mention how often the training would need to be done, or? I mean, it seems like it's kind of a one and done, but I would imagine that as your board changes and evolves over time, you get new members, they would have to be trained as well. And I just know that it says that, you know, it's a $750 plus additional cost, may vary depending on mileage and if they got to stay the night in a per diem and all that.
They're not gonna stay the night here, yeah.
I wouldn't imagine that they
No,
would,
they won't,
but
yeah.
but yeah, I'd just be interested to see, because I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea to bring it to the city and let the citizens directly represent themselves, and you know, have a board that way they feel like they're better heard and better represented.
Either way, though, we need some ethics training, just so everybody's on the same page, but
Yeah.
we can wait then, we'll table this to the next meeting, and I can figure out, I don't know if we pay the ad to be a part of that board, I'm not sure, I can find out about that, I don't know what, no idea.
I don't think so. We wouldn't have done it.
I mean, I'm saying, I don't know, I know we pay dues to different places, I don't know if that's a part of something we're paying, I don't know, so I will find out, and then I can find out if we needed extra training, how that would go, and get more information. I just kind of started on this yesterday, kind of with Michael going over training opportunities, because they're also coming in to do some other trainings, so we'll table that for the next meeting. The next thing is an agreement from Summit, from the engineer group, and it's for the lagoon cleaning, for the replacing all 3 lagoon liners out there at the sewer plant for the project we're doing with the grant money once that comes in. So Summit is starting to get all that organized for us. It's more than just the lagoon liners, I think it's like an aerator,
Yeah.
some
I was gonna ask that, 'cause
heads, and yeah.
I know when I went out and toured last year that Christian was talking about how some of that aerators and stuff were dead.
There's one aerator that's dead, so that's getting replaced, and then some clear heads. I'm not sure all the
Yeah, you got
terminology.
nine aerators.
But that's because you have to pull them
Posted.
out and put them back in. That's not to replace them.
So out of curiosity, you know how long the liners last or warranty for once they're done? I hope there's a warranty on them.
No, there is, and we talked about this when we met with Summit and Christian. I want to say it's maybe 15 years or 25. The ones out there have outlived their life.
Yeah.
And I can't remember for sure when the sewer plant was opened, but it wasn't that long ago. But so I think it was every 15, 20 years, so I think is what they said.
For some reason, my
But the
brain
issue with
says
our
that's
lagoon liners also didn't help with, so the new ones, they are the sun doesn't affect them or impact them like the sun is tore up the ones out here, and then the other issue is that they let weeds and trees and whatever grow up into the side of the lagoon liners, and then took like a backhoe and just ripped them out and just ripped the liners. So that all happened before Christian was over there. I don't know when, if that was when Andy or Ken, I don't know how long ago that happened, but that's what they said happened to the sides of them when I went out there and was looking at them. So they need replaced. But it's only one aerator that's actually getting replaced. Oh, it's the bar screens, that's what the other thing was, bar screens. And then, again, in hindsight, I mean, we paid to clean one of the lagoons. And I mean, to clean one is almost the same cost as replacing the liner, and when we
Yeah.
replace the liner, we're getting them all 3 cleaned, so. At least we won't have to clean them out for a while.
Yeah, I remember that being a thing a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm. They don't need a vote to sign this, do they? Yes. Might as
Unless
well.
we previously approved it, I don't think we have.
We didn't, we just approved hiring some, that was all.
Yeah, we need a motion.
And then, so how much was the grant for? Does it cover this?
For 900,
For 900?
so not quite, but this is,
Yeah.
they're hoping we can save some cost on some of this, is their
Oh,
hope.
yeah, because there's some miscellaneous expenditures on here and
There
everything.
is, and they are
There's
look,
some stuff
There's a
that
10%
could possibly go
contingency.
down.
yes, and
Yeah.
they're also looking at, I think the guys might be able to pull aerators in themselves and put them back in themselves, so that, so they talked about, we've done it with Mark Stevens, he knows that the grant's for 900,000, so
Okay.
we're gonna try and get as close to that as ultimately possible. But we need an engineer to put all this together, so this is kind of the start, so as soon as that money comes in, they can go ahead and move forward with it, cause the other thing is that, we're trying to get on the waiting list, there's like, I think maybe only like one company, is my understanding, that does this cleaning. And we have to wait for them. But it's basically just that whole project that they talked about initially with replacing the lagoon liners.
So we would approve this, but this is not, because Summit's not doing the work, they would have someone else do it,
They're just the engineer firm.
they're just engineering.
So they will be in charge of the project, getting everybody, and all the things, they'll walk us through the whole project.
So do they handle like the procurement stuff, or like is that something we have to do?
Well, we'll have to put it out for different things
bids.
out for bid from
Okay.
there, yeah.
That's why I was curious, like
Yeah,
if
I
we had
think,
to.
yeah, they don't,
What would we be procuring here?
the work,
The work.
the
yeah.
contract, he wants to know who the contractors are gonna be to do the work. That's not in this, he's just
Oh.
asking, so after we approve this, he's just asking, then would these things come
Gotcha.
here for us to be able to,
Would we approve
Approve the biddings.
a subcontractor then? I don't, if that's the question, I don't think we would, I think they would.
the engineer firm finds them all?
I think that would be the case, yeah.
And they also try to get the
Yeah.
grants or whatever, right, funding.
Well, my understanding is there's one company that does this lagoon clean out thing, and it's the same company that came in here before, and so they have a backlog because they're the only people that do it around here. In like a wide area.
Yeah, I was just like I said, I was just curious how this worked with.
Yeah, I don't really know, it's my first project, so I
Yeah,
don't
no,
know.
666 delegation of duties.
So
on
they'll
page
take care of
5.
all that.
It says that they'll, we may have to just approve them from time to time, but they do have the authority to go out and hire as independent professional associates and subcontractors, the engineer may deem appropriate.
Which, I mean, you're talking about very limited,
Yeah.
I mean, the Rumpke thing, where that's where that's going, we're not gonna,
Yeah.
which he did say they were gonna try and maybe bid that all into the project. Where whoever's, we're not having to pay the dump fee to Rumpke, because I think the last time we did it, we paid that ourselves separate, so he's gonna see, that was another way he was gonna try and save some money, was trying to make it all one thing for them.
Just take it up a second Saturday.
I don't think that will work. I don't think Rumpke's gonna work out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, and they did also kind of talk. So you could pump this stuff. We've got all kinds of acres over there. I mean, I think like another 38, but there's a bunch of land over there still. And there are different ways that in the future, if we wanted to, where they basically like pump the sludge out and they let it dry on the ground. There's that way, or like I think last time they brought in like tarps and laid them down and stuff. But they've also looked at getting like a press or whatever ourselves, but those things would be kind of costly. But maybe down the road, so they're not having to, because it's expensive to have this sludge taken up to Rumpke. That's what gets expensive, is the cost of taking it to Rumpke. So maybe down the road they can keep looking at some of those ideas, but right now that's the only one we have. I wasn't for the idea of putting it in the ground because I'm sure there's going to be issues with that down
I
the
mean,
road.
I don't know, I'm not an environmental expert, but that just seems to raise some red flags.
So
Yeah,
you
it
wouldn't
seems
be
like
able.
there'd be some EPA issues.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, that's why I was like, we didn't just dry, it just dries out there and then what? And I'm like, yeah, I can see that being not problems right now, but like, what if we go to sell that land at some point? Then you got and there's too much rain, so I didn't think that was the way to go.
Yeah,
There. So we're gonna take it up to Rumpke.
If the EPA gets bent out of shape for like a leaky oil drum, like let alone just pumping sewer sludge, like that seems a little questionable.
We'll just need a motion in a second, whenever you guys are ready.
So I guess would the motion be to enter into this agreement with Summit, or I just wanna make sure that I word this correctly? And I'll make the motion to enter into this agreement with Summit to get the project started for the lagoon liners and the improvements down there.
I'll second that.
Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
So we're gonna skip around here though, cause we can discuss the pay ordinance with the committee report, cause we talked about that in the committee. The other thing on here says governance one-on-one training with KLC that, we're gonna have them come in and do to help, with the employee training. So I was just kinda letting you know that, and we're also doing the handbook training, and the council is more than welcome to come sit in on any of these trainings too. So the one is on April 2nd at 2, and we're gonna shut City Hall and all the departments down and have everybody, all the employees here for that meeting. If you guys wanna come to that, I'll just go through the handbook, which it's more beneficial for them than you guys, since you guys just helped rewrite it, so, but this governance 101 training, if you guys wanna come to that, but they're gonna come in and go over procurement and things like that with the city employees. Now that we have a lot of new employees and, laws have changed over the years, some things haven't always correlated, and so I think it would be good to get them some solid, governance training, since they're helping run the government here.
Who will that be?
They haven't said yet.
Oh.
The Megan, the other girl that's coming with them, she was at that seminar with me all day today, so they're gonna get me dates for that, but it'll be after that April 1. We can move on to the committee reports. Anthony, you wanna give your committee report?
So, I mean, we talked about the ethics, briefly, whether we wanna go in-house with, the ethics board, and so obviously that's gonna be discussed further later, and we've already discussed that part. The other part was the pay scale, or pay ordinance, I should say. Right now, we have a pay scale, which is part of the existing handbook that was passed by resolution, a couple years ago, when Luke was mayor. We essentially need to transfer that into an ordinance, and put a little bit more, not necessarily structure, but a little bit more formatting, a little bit more legalese around it, because the new pay, or not new pay, the new policy book is going to just say refer to the ordinance. I think we were looking at Litchfield was the city. They have a very granular pay grade of 50 different grades. We don't need to get that crazy, but we do need to essentially copy a lot of their, like I said, the wording, and then just kind of put what we have currently into there. Trying to think, was there anything else?
The openly up permit, the street.
Oh yeah, the permit stuff. So right now, anyone can go dig in the road, and they don't need a permit for it to do whatever
Well,
they
they
do.
do by our ordinance. It's in the ordinance. They're supposed to have a permit, but the permit application goes to this committee that has, my understanding, has never existed. And because I called Mark Hart to ask him, I'm like, hey, so did you guys do this permit thing to dig up the roads? And he was like, yeah. He said they just had to go into the public works supervisor, which is where it needs to go. That's where it ends up. It just, in the ordinance, it says it goes to this committee and then to the public works supervisor. So we're just gonna amend the ordinance so it's clear. So that way, I mean, because if our ordinances aren't clear, even though we might, at some point they had a process, but they haven't been doing it for years now. But it needs to be correct in the ordinance, so that way when people get on our website and go look up the ordinance, that it's in there clearly that how they're supposed to do that. And they weren't charging, there's not a fee, it's in your ordinance books, it's under streets and sidewalks, but there wasn't really a fee. They would charge a bond, basically, and that was to ensure that whatever contractor came out there and did up the road, that they returned the road back to the condition, to the standard of the public works supervisor to approve. And then if it wasn't, and we fixed it, then we would keep the bond. But if it's all satisfactory done, then we would release the bond back to the contractor. And there wasn't a fee that they were charging for the permit. It was just making sure the process is there, so the city's aware they're digging into the city street, and then the public works supervisor can go out there and inspect what's going on and what the condition when they leave. So,
You wanna keep the bond but add a fee?
well, maybe you guys want to add a fee? I just want to take the committee part out to make sure,
Okay.
just have the application go into the public works supervisor since we don't have a committee.
Yeah.
Do you know offhand what the bond is for that?
It was like $100. It's in your, ordinance books are right in front of you guys. I don't have one in front of me.
I would probably look into
We could increase the bond.
raising the bond.
$100 a deal.
I mean, this was put in place, I mean,
Yeah.
it was put in place a long time ago.
Yeah.
It was before the 66 one, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
It's old.
That'd be a heck of a deal not to worry about
We
the
could
asphalt.
change it to $1,000 bond.
Yeah, at least.
Just something that would kind of suffice to
Yeah.
at least
Incentivize them to fix it.
back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's serious enough to raise it.
What do you guys want to raise?
I mean,
Should I ask Joe? And then, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, yeah, maybe how much does when people are digging the street, how wide is it, and then how much, in theory, I'm trying to think of the worst case, if they're just fixing a sewer tap or something.
That's normally in my head, there should be no other reason. The only reason why anybody would be digging into our road would be to get the sewer line fixed. Because
Do the gas
residents
lines
are-
under?
well, Duke comes out and digs a lot.
Yeah, I've noticed them digging before.
They dig, but I'm saying just as far as the customer, and I don't know
Yeah.
Duke so much. I can go back and look. We might have something with Duke, since they're with their whole franchise thing or whatever. But I think this is more for. I don't think it was for. It's the other contractors. Like if you're doing sewer work, if you got to replace your whole sewer line, the sewer runs in the middle of the street. The residents are responsible from their house all the way to the tap. They
Yeah.
tap in on the main line that's in the middle of the street, so you got this little tap. So their sewer line that they're responsible for runs in, if they have a sidewalk, go through the sidewalk and into the street to get to the tap. And so those would be the only times that I can think of besides when a Duke or, any cable company would be the only other ones, but that's the only reason a homeowner, I think, would be digging into, unless water line repair, and if their water line meters on the other side of the sidewalk, then they would be tearing into the sidewalk. And if we could include that, instead of making this just a street thing, we could make it a permit about digging into the right of way. What do you think, Brian?
Yeah,
Put me on the spot. You think we should do it like the whole right of way, so we're not just limiting the streets if they're digging up the sidewalk?
typically,
Yes.
encroachment permits typically are your right of way, yeah, so anything in a right of way would count, so.
Okay. So we'll draft it up to reword it to make sure it includes everything in the right of way. We can change it to call it an encroachment permit instead of a like dig up something. And then
I'll probably talk with Joe.
We'll up the bond.
See what Joe thinks, what he thinks would be a sufficient amount.
Yeah.
Cause
Okay.
I mean, I understand it can vary, it's different if you're digging a 4x4 section of sidewalk,
Yeah.
or if you're digging into the middle of the street, so.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't wanna
we
make
could
it
set a different bond
astronomical,
price. We could set different bond prices if they're gonna be digging all the way into the street at a certain amount, if they're just digging the sidewalk a certain amount.
Yeah,
Not everybody has sidewalks, so we could separate it. I just need to know what you guys want in the ordinance so we can draft it for you guys.
I would say that, yeah, the bond be increased and then broken down based on what are you digging through? Like if you're digging through a sidewalk and street, that would be the most, and then if it's just a sidewalk, it'd be X, or just a street.
yeah.
Okay.
Cause
Whatever.
sometimes people go to the sidewalk and don't repair it.
No, and then this would require them, this is
That
how you
happened
get all
to me in
that.
the city, across Chapel Street to replace the water line. And then, they had to, I guess, dig around the meter, and it's just got gravel in it, it never could get concrete back.
Oh, I'm sure that's a lot of places around here. That's all gonna be improving.
Okay.
That's my,
That's then also the city, like
I
the
just
city doesn't
wanted-
have to pay
I was
their own
glad
bond,
to get the
so.
water line replaced, cause I had there was no pressure in that building. And, but I didn't know whether I was supposed to put the concrete back or what.
no, we don't have anything, so other cities, they have in their ordinances, some of them that, like, the property owners are responsible for putting in sidewalks. Other ones will have it that the city puts in the sidewalk, but any maintenance after that is on the property owner, like, if it's on their section. We don't even have
It's not that-
sidewalks everywhere here in this town, and I don't see that
Yeah.
ever being a thing, but we do have the residents, start maintaining the sidewalks that we haven't even been maintaining all these years, so. But
I mean, I don't mind to do that, I just don't
you
want
can, I guess.
to get in trouble.
Well,
You
look
said
at the
the
ordinance, is there anything we could,
It's not that big of a area, I mean, it's just out in front of the meter and like on the
I
side.
don't think the city's gonna get mad if you replace your sidewalk or fix your sidewalk.
No, I'll just patch it, I mean.
Do you wanna take that on, Steve, go ahead.
Well, I
If you
mean,
wanna complain and go have them fix it, you could call City Hall and complain and they can put a work
No,
order in
I'm
to
not
fix
gonna
it,
do
but
that.
if you'd like to do it, go ahead.
In all fairness, if the city did tear it down, the city probably should.
Fix it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying,
I'm
like,
gonna get on Facebook and blast him about it either.
Well, it'll be my fault, so even though I wasn't the mayor then, but it'll be okay. But no, whatever you wanna do. But, yeah, I mean, the sidewalks are all four in here. The Precision people that came and did that sanding thing, they were at that summit thing today too. It'd be nice to have our sidewalks, a lot of them replaced, and that was something that I think the
Luke was really
utility.
working on that. Maple Avenue is really bad up there, the upper end.
yeah, part of that report,
It's all mud,
um,
crashing in.
So part of that report, I remember mentioned which pieces had to be replaced, like it couldn't be fixed either because the buckling was too bad or it was cracked.
Sidewalk, putting them in is really expensive. Like, our best bet would be to get our guys trained to do it ourselves, because the cost, they were talking about that at an ad meeting, the cost is like,
Well, the city put in a sidewalk from in front of Wyatt's all around to in front of the, childcare center when David Claver was on council. Worked for the city. That whole sidewalk.
when was that?
Oh, I don't know.
It's
Back
been
in
a
the
while.
early
So my-
2000s or.
They were just talking about in the last couple of years, the cost of sidewalks going in has gotten really expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So I think our best, I don't think we could ever really afford to have a bunch of sidewalks, like have a company come in and put the sidewalks in. I think our best bet's trying to get the
Yeah.
employees to try and fix some of them and see that route first.
Knock one square at a time. I mean, you got a mini excavator, you can rip one out and then just buy a concrete mixer from Harbor Freight and just do one square at a time.
Easier said than done, I'm sure. But yeah, that was all that they discussed in that committee. Do you guys have anything for your committee?
Well, we discussed about the 1% payroll tax on employees that work in the city of Falmouth. And I mean, this is just on people that, cause you get all these people that don't work and they're all up in the air and all that stuff. I'm kinda tired of that, but anyway, if they work in the city limits, it's, not to be, I would think us, the city employees, county, whatever, teachers, cause I worked in a school system in Grant County and I had two, I had Dry Ridge and Grant County, and I see now that Grant County's raised theirs to 2.5%.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's not like it's not done somewhere else.
I think one of them lowered theirs back down, I don't know if it was the county or maybe Williams, somebody lowered theirs back down a little bit here recently because they were getting in so much money. Cause it was higher than that number that you're saying, like I was kinda shocked that was, cause you can't go over 3. It's my understanding, right?
That may be correct, I don't know.
I mean, we wouldn't ever wanna go that high, I'm just saying.
I did some analytics on that, just FYI, the packet we got last time with all the breakdown, because I noticed that there wasn't any sort of correlation for like size with percentages, so I did some analytics, and what came back is the size category of city, so we have 2,000 and some change people, so size category of 1,000 to 5,000. The mean was about 1.25% roughly, median being 1% on the payroll side of things, and then just comparing other cities similar to us, you have anywhere from, what are we looking at? Woodford, 1,700 people is 2%. Nicholas, I was looking at counties. Midway was 2%. Dry Ridge, 1.25%. Carlisle, 1%. Greensburg, 1.5%. So just kind of give a ballpark as to what other cities similar to us, have done. But there's also some stuff here about the net profits and whatnot, but I'll yield back. You can keep going.
We kind of talked about that. I said, well, if we don't want to hurt the, businesses, whether they're small or, what about doing taxing gross sales on alcohol? Just alcohol or gasoline or?
The alcohol, I think, is already in the ABC tax.
Yeah, and you can't do gasoline, I don't think.
Yeah.
We can't do sales tax.
That's one
There's a
thing.
lot of things we're not allowed, the options for taxing, you could do a restaurant tax and a tax on your short-term, like hotels and Airbnbs, but that can only fund a tourism board. That's the only thing that tax can be used for, so that's why we don't have those taxes, because we don't have a tourism board here in Falmouth, in the city. But those are we already go after the insurance premium, we get the deposits on the bank's receipts, I definitely think we should not do gross receipts. I think we'd kill all of our mom and pop stores if we went after gross receipts. That would, they won't survive that. The net profits is kinda,
That would be hard to prove, I mean, hard to legislate or whatever, I mean, make happen.
yes and no. I think,
You know, bring in their tax return.
Yeah,
there's a
you
whole
said-
process, like the ordinance, they're supposed to bring all this stuff in and
You submit a one-page form along with a copy of your tax return. That would just prove that was the amount. And then we did pass a bill out of the House that would consolidate. You could basically, the county would have to provide a one-page form for everybody. They could do it electronically.
so they passed
We
that.
passed it out of the
Okay.
House, yeah, and then that should be over in the Senate, and that's pretty much gonna take a lot of that off, the tax collection off your hands, and just have the county do it for you and then remit payment back.
See, initially, that bill proposal was for the state to also collect all the money,
Right.
and the legislators, like, they,
We didn't like that. We don't want the state taking 4% of your money.
so they took that part out, but
But
the
Pennsylvania
central
County's
forms-
already doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Most of the counties are already doing it, and so you're just kind of sending it business friendly. You're sending the business to one stop instead of having to do, like where I'm at. You got 17 daggone cities in Kenton County. You'd have to do 17 different tax returns, but now you're just doing one to the county.
So it's, and the ordinance would spell all that out, like, if you look at some of their different city ordinances, it spells out the whole process of how they're supposed to bring things in. The other things I think we really need to look at are occupational license fee. I know everybody lost their mind on Facebook when I
Yeah.
reminded people to come pay that.
From 1966.
Yeah, but that is another thing with using their tax returns. We could also then base their fee, like do a fee scale and kind of put it down where our businesses that aren't really making money or these little smaller things that we could reduce their part down to like $15 or $20 for the year, and then you've got your stores on their the net profits, whatever, your dollar stores or profitable stores, you could charge them $500. I mean, like you could do it that way. That's how a lot of other cities actually do that. They do, instead of just a flat $50 for everybody. Because think about it, the dollar store is paying the same thing as if I wanted to start a little business at my house, like making candles. Like we're paying the same thing to do business in the city, and they're doing business at a much bigger scale.
So that's something we can get brought up and maybe revisit, because if it's been since '66.
Mhm. I think-
But it's been revised in '66.
Yeah,
yeah,
2018.
Yeah, no, the rates, those things have been changed, but
it's
that
been
first,
revised,
that
but the whole
ordinance,
general premises of it hasn't, like you said, the dollar store shouldn't be paying as much as a mom and pop and so on.
yeah,
but a lot of cities do that way too.
Oh,
They
yeah,
do
big
both
thing,
ways.
A big thing that was brought into question with that ordinance from '66 is like it's very vague as far as the word business. Like a lot of people are like landlords that are just doing it like as not like an LLC or whatever. Like, what are we a business? And I asked one person, it's like, well, what do you do with your federal tax returns? Like, how do you explain that? I mean, so anyway.
Bellevue has theirs spelled out. I mean, that would be a good ordinance that we could pull. I can get you a
Yeah.
copy of theirs. They
Yeah.
have theirs spelled out pretty well, very well. And it really kind of goes into the businesses more. And then it incorporates also the things that are exempt. It spells it out in their own ordinance there instead of saying, go look at this state. I think ours just says if you're exempt on the state or whatever, we don't have to. But that doesn't really explain much. So Bellevue's does explain a lot more. I could pull that and let you guys start looking into that to see if you guys can find some other ones that are like that. If you guys, I didn't want to start pulling a bunch of ordinances if you, depending on where you guys are wanting to go with some of this stuff. I definitely think the gross receipts though we should not be doing.
With that being said, like if we wanted to do the licenses, as like a tiered approach. Could we also do the actual tax itself as a tiered approach, where if you don't make much, you only get 0.25%, 0.5%, but if you make $1 million a year, you're 3% or something.
That is the net profits, because you're being taxed off of your net profits. So if you bring in a tax return and say, well, I didn't make anything, then there's like a minimum, I think, that they are paying. If you bring them in a tax receipt, the dollar store or wherever brings in one that shows them that they made, $50,000 or whatever, then they're paying the tax on that money.
Mhm.
Whereas the more they make, the more you're gonna get off your percentage
Yes.
that you're taxing. But you're saying
But-
increase the tax rate
yeah.
per thing? I don't
Yeah.
know, I don't know.
You mean a progressive tax?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of just being a flat fee. Like,
Yeah, I don't know.
that's one thing about being a home rule state. It's like you can do whatever you want except for all these long list of things.
I don't know, I don't
Yeah, I
want
don't
to
know if you can do
overcomplicate it
progressive,
too
yeah.
much.
Yeah.
I
Make
mean,
it simple as possible if you're gonna do it.
I think the fact that the
I mean, we don't have to go
percentage
through, like-
stays the same and you're just gonna get more money because they're making more money. I
Right,
don't wanna overcomplicate it way too much. But I could look to see if there's other cities that
Yeah.
have done.
I'm not saying we have to go federal government crazy. I'm just saying like,
Yeah, because somebody has to actually implement this and collect this.
Mhm.
And so I don't wanna make it too complicated, because that is us that has to.
versus the county.
Well, with the county start collecting, because the county, I don't think the county just does payroll tax. They don't have a gross or a net profits tax anything.
No.
No, but they,
So
but
if
they
they're
would,
not
but they
collecting
would, they would collect it on behalf of all the cities.
Okay,
So
so
it would be on the form, it would say which
I
one,
gotcha.
whether you're net or gross, and then even like caps, and it's,
Okay,
Mhm.
so no.
the Kitten County form, I think it's called ACC1. It's, if you look at that, and it's even got a fillable thing. It's kind of the model for what we were looking at for the
Because
state
you guys
to
are all
do.
going to the same form now, right? No matter what county it is, it
And
would be the
you
same
plug it
form.
in and it automatically calculates based on your percent and what you owe. And then you just submit in that tax return with your Schedule C and they're looking at it and it's pretty easy.
So how do we tax the businesses that deliver in the city?
Yeah, that
So we
was-
have, so when I asked, we have some registered as, I was actually really surprised when I asked for the list of who holds the occupational licenses, the current licenses, how many people that, they're not businesses here. I mean, you got Pepsi on there, you got three, like the other places coming in, Cintas, they're all getting theirs. How do we go after their taxes?
So
That would be,
I think, so if
all
you're like
that.
a delivery driver who's coming in and just dropping something off, you're not based out of here. So yeah, I don't think you can tax somebody that just happens to pass through while doing business. But one area that you would collect, and we're actually having to fight the state about this right now, is work from home folks. So if you work from home, you had this happen with Covington and Fidelity. Fidelity during COVID moved everybody to work from home, and that punched about a $7 million hole in Covington's budget because they went from there to Fort Wright, and wherever they were living, and so we're trying to figure that out. It's been pretty contentious down at the state, but right now, the local governments or those dispersed governments are collecting that money, so you may benefit from some of that here if you have somebody that works from home, even part-time, a couple days a week. They have to remit that payment back to the city.
Well, and then we wondered about, like delivery, like from Amazon and Kroger's. Is there, like, can you collect a franchise?
They're at least supposed to have their license, their occupational license to be bringing business down to the city.
Okay.
Didn't Schwann's used to have, they used to pay, didn't they?
I don't know,
'Cause
I don't
always
think they're
thought they
current,
did.
but I mean, you got Cintas, you've got Pepsi, you've got all these other ones they're paying. And Megan did, Steve okayed a form letter for her to start sending out to anybody that, might need to come in and get in compliance and pay their $50, and then, so we started sending this out. And I will make sure that Amazon and those are on her list.
Is there any difference between your Pepsi and stuff like that? I can't speak to like Centos and stuff, but like basically Pepsi comes in as like a wholesaler.
Mhm.
But like when your Walmarts, your Amazons, your Kroger are delivering, that's retail sales.
Yeah, but I don't,
And it's like,
so I mean, if the situation of, let's say you just have a truck driver pass through,
mm,
right, you're not collecting that tax. I mean,
right,
they're doing work and earning an income in your county, but they're not based here. And so I think that would be your distinction. That those delivery drivers that are coming in and delivering something, they're not necessarily based here earning their money here. They're
I'm
just,
not talking about like
The business
taxing the
itself.
business
Yeah.
itself, not the driver.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because they're getting a profit by selling to the citizens. So
Yeah.
to that point, it's like
Yeah, and they're coming
I would-
into the city to deliver.
I don't know.
And
Yeah.
they're hurting the people that are just gonna put this occupational
Yeah,
tax on.
does Kroger already have things where they're tracking how much they're
That would
selling
be a
people in
sales
cities?
tax though, right? Or you're wanting to tax that individual
We're,
employee?
we're,
Like,
right- no, they're wanting to tax, they're,
Like
yeah, not
Kroger's-
the,
yeah,
they're
like
wanting
Kroger
to
made
tax
$1 million
net
on
profits.
City of Falmouth citizens. We're gonna tax that $1 million type of deal, like based on deliveries.
So so if Coke delivers some product and sells it to your grocery store, you're wanting to tax that transaction.
He's not talking about him, he's talking about Amazon, coming and
Like
selling,
direct
like
to-
they're a store, they're a
direct to
mobile
resident
store.
sales.
Yeah, they're talking about direct to resident
Yeah.
sales, not delivery to,
Okay.
Home
there's,
deliveries, whatever. Yeah.
yeah, no, they get their
But are you
occupational
wanting to-
license to come in here and do that, but no, they're wanting to go after the net receipts for like Amazon or Kroger delivery.
It's like basically Walmart, Amazon, Kroger are driving in little retail stores.
Yeah,
That's what they're doing.
Yeah,
It's like essentially like a loophole.
Like
Yeah.
a store on wheels.
I get what you're saying. I don't know. I don't know if anybody else that taxes it. I've not heard of it.
Right.
And so I'm just logically thinking they're not based here,
Mhm.
right? They're kind of this mobile thing, which is why I brought up a truck driver. Like, okay, he's doing the same thing, right? He's just driving through them.
Right.
He doesn't happen to drop anything off.
Mhm.
And so we don't tax that.
Mhm.
And so it's kind of the same concept to me. They're coming here, yeah, they're dropping something off. What would you're not going to tax the product they're dropping off because that would be a sales tax and we don't have that authority. So then you have to tax that occupation. And I don't know. I mean, a realtor you would tax that way,
Mhm.
right? If a realtor sells a home in your community, you would tax them that way. I don't know. I can dig into that. On one side, it makes sense,
Mhm.
and on another, I've never heard of it.
I think Bellevue's doing something,
Well,
like, they've got it
I'm
set
just kind of concerned about if they paid a permit or whatever to do that. I mean, that's.
So I was thinking, like, what if the occupational license, could we break it down by
Yeah,
business type?
yeah, like say if we did if
Make
we
like-
did like the
You wanna do
tier
delivery
company-
services, you gotta pay $2,000 a year because they're not getting you taxes any other way.
Yeah.
I mean, you can figure out a number, but
Yeah, cause wasn't it Bellevue you were talking about that has tiered, like the tiered permitting or whatever? So like if we did the tiered permitting kinda like that, and then say like you're, a big box retailer or something like that, obviously your rate's gonna be a lot higher than, the local store.
If you get on, if you get on our ordinances, on
Yeah.
our webpage, this is the best way to, if you guys wanna start looking at some of these options. If you get on there and you go to this American Legal Publishing, if you you can go up to the top there and if you hit the buttons, you can search. And then you can refine your search to just the state of Kentucky. So you wanna get out of the Falmouth part of it and just go to Kentucky, and you can search, and it'll pull up just the state of Kentucky thing. So if you wanna search a word, like taxes, or different things, you'll pull up every ordinance that if that city has their stuff published, which quite a few do. And like, that's a good way for you guys to start kind of looking up some of these options in different ways, how you guys wanna structure it. Cause ultimately, the council's supposed to be bringing these ordinance proposals. Like Steve and I can draft them up and that kind of stuff, but like, it can't be like I'm just bringing them to you guys and saying here, like, so if you wanna start looking at all these things so you can kind of get an idea of how you wanna structure it, I would highly suggest that. I can pull some of these myself, but I'm just saying, if you're I wanna see it myself, I wanna go look, and that's how I am. So if you wanna do that, that's a much easier way, you can actually just search and then you go down to the advanced filter and you just click Kentucky and then you can search that word and the ordinances for every city in Kentucky, and some of them have counties on there. And it'll pull up, and then you can just go through and you can kind of look around at different ones. But we can pull some different ideas if you guys for the next meeting, some different options, if ordinance wise, how that would look, and then let you guys. I mean, because this wouldn't be something we would have ready for the next meeting. So if you guys want to continue, I just didn't want to start pulling ordinances examples until we got to figure out what we were doing.
No.
But if you guys want to
Yeah.
keep looking into this, then we can pull some examples and then give them to you at the next meeting. Or I know some of you guys like to do some of your own research. That's the easiest way. Instead of clicking each city and trying to search it out, you can just search it and it pulls up every city that has that phrase or whatever you're looking for. But we can get some different ordinances to give you guys for the next meeting and then discuss it after that next meeting. That's the plan.
Yep. Yep.
Do you guys have any more questions though for Steve to go look up
Well,
where we're
there's one
going?
other thing, it was brought to my attention about this, is a rental property a business?
If, like my rental, my
I would argue
landlord
yes.
is got, I don't know, 7-8 houses in an LLC that they are filing a tax return on every year. How is that not a business?
I think the federal government would be like, if
Yeah,
you make
it's-
your profit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't have an
I'm not saying every
LLC.
landlord meets that definition. I'm just saying kind of for my personal landlord, they are a business and they
Yeah.
have a license.
It's
No.
income, it's a business.
Yeah, well, I mean, I do the schedule, whatever it is, on the income tax, and I put all my income from each property, even if they give me cash, it goes in there,
Mm-hmm.
and the expenses and all that stuff. So, it goes to the federal and state both, so.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue yes, but my question would be, do they need a license for every
No.
residence or just one?
No,
Okay.
they're considered just
Yeah.
one business. They're
For-
a rental
For then
business.
similarly, what if you have a consignment situation where you have someone set up in a business, an existing business, kind of like doing like a small like thing? You know what I'm saying?
Well, are they
Like-
selling anywhere outside? I mean, is that the only place they're selling? Like, if they're at like a peddler's mall, is that
Yeah,
the
or
only
like,
place
yeah,
they're selling
peddler,
anything? But they're still making money in the city. But I don't. You want to know if they fall under the brick and mortars permit, or does each vendor need their own permit?
Yeah, like if it's a
If they're
consignment.
doing
type
business
thing,
in
so-
your city, they're selling something, they need a permit.
I mean, because I think even street vendors that set up are supposed to have permits.
We have a art walk, all the vendors have patient license.
It's kind of hard to go around and like, I mean, you have your obvious storefront
Yeah, it is.
businesses that, I mean, obviously you're gonna know they're a
But I
storefront
always
business.
thought in that case, it was, handled by whoever was operating the storefront.
Yeah, yeah, like
They
someone goes into a
handle
pawn
the
shop,
sales
sells
tax
something.
and all that stuff.
Not gonna,
That's different though.
is it?
I mean, I'm not getting an occupational license because I sold an old pair of blue jeans on Facebook.
Boone County would be cool.
No, but if you
No, I
have
get
like
what
a-
you're saying though, I don't know. I don't know, you guys are, like, it's getting way too complicated. I'll be honest, the only thing I really wanted with the whole thing is, cause this is what floors me, is we have storefront businesses that don't have occupational licenses. So I put out a post to remind everybody to, hey, and it was kinda, you know, are the police gonna go, cause they're the only ones that, it's a misdemeanor, so the police would have to be the ones going out enforcing it. And I can assure you, they're not gonna be chasing down everybody walking around or pushing a lawnmower to go ask them for a license. Like, it was, we just need people to,
Common sense.
I mean, like, I don't, it's gotten way too complicated. And this is why I kinda like, maybe we should reduce the rate down for these smaller things, you know,
Yeah,
but it's just.
Yeah, I'll do some.
If they're making money, what's $50? And you got a business,
Well, and not all these businesses make money, I think it's part of it. I don't think some of these,
well, then it should be a business then. Some people just mow their yards and not, it's not really a business.
Well, and so you said too that like the vendors that come in for like the art walk and that, they're supposed to have an occupational license as well. So I mean, my looking at that is, why are we charging a temporary, like, 1 day vendor the same as the yearly rate for a brick and mortar vendor? If we revisit that, look at it, and we tier it, we can say, okay, you're temporarily setting up for 1 day, it's $25. And, you know, if you're, an established brick and mortar, it's $75, or, you know, something like that.
There
But it
are a
needs
lot
to
of
be
cities
tiered
that
like
break
that.
this down a lot more detailed than what we have.
Yeah.
And so if that's another one you guys wanna start looking at, we can do all that with the, cause we're gonna have to redo the ordinance anyways if we go to add in a net profits or payroll tax or any of that stuff anyways. So we can look at tiering it out and you guys can come up with whatever. I mean, it's really up to you guys. I don't think there's, when it comes to that license fee, I don't think there's rules in how we have to do that. It just, certain things are exempt, and that's like, comes from the state that says they're exempt, like, churches don't need them. But then there's other places, that spell out their ordinances more, that exempted more people from having to hold that. So I mean, really, I think it's kinda up to you guys on what you guys wanna do there, however you wanna do it. But I get what you're saying,
Yeah.
like, and I think, I mean, you could even require that if they come into the city more than 6 times in a year, or more than 3 times in a year to do business, then we require it, so if
Who's
people
gonna
are just
keep track of
coming
that
in.
though?
Well, who's keeping track of it now?
I don't know, but
Yeah,
just
something
do a
like that.
flat out occupational license and be done with it.
Yeah, something like how many times you come do business in city.
No, I'm just saying, like, my
I
understanding.
get what you're saying.
There's no rhyme or reason, like, it looks like cities really kind of base that off of what they want and their needs for their city, so. But I think maybe just doing one for a day thing might be.
Yeah, especially knowing that, you know, they're paying the same as a brick and mortar that's set up all year. That seems kind of ridiculous that they would have to pay the same fee, so.
I don't know, so now you know why it's so ridiculous that like storefront businesses in the city. And I'm not talking about any, like, this isn't something that there's some that have been open for a hot minute that just don't have them. So I mean, like, so I really feel like I wasn't trying to make it such a big deal on Facebook. I was just kind of trying to put it out there because this is the ordinance, this is the consequences. Can you just come pay yourself? So, and I put it out there to everybody, so I can't just say, hey, just storefronts, because that's not how our ordinance reads. So everybody needs to, and we've had quite a few people come in and pay them that didn't know or maybe hadn't been or whatever. But
Are you back charging them if they haven't had it for years?
Can.
well, I wasn't complaining. I was just trying to get them to come in and pay it. I don't. Why do you think we should back charge them for it?
I mean, if they're making 100,000 a year, and it's a $50 license or whatever it is, I mean, shouldn't there be interest on business done without a permit?
There's penalties for it. And I mean, here's the penalty is it's a misdemeanor crime. They're gonna come charge you with it, and it's a $500 up to a $500 fine, and every day is a separate incident. I mean, I guess we could go back, what misdemeanor charge, like what, a year is the statute of limitations? So you could only charge them, I guess, every day for the last year that they've been open, right? And it'd be $500 a day then. But no, I mean, I see what you're saying, just pay, honestly, that's not even in the notice. I just wanted people just to get current, so if they don't know, they know now and they can.
And if we've not been diligent as a city in collecting the tax, it's kind of inappropriate to go back.
Property taxes is different, but the occupational taxes.
Well, you get a notice every year.
Yeah.
If we've not been sending out a notice saying you owe this tax, you not pay, it's kind of hard for us to go back and say, hey, you owe us for 12 years and we never told you.
And that's a yearly occupational license, so I think we should probably I think it's due around April, right? I think so, so.
Yeah, so
Probably-
maybe we can start sending out.
Start doing that, like,
Well, we just sent out notices.
well, yeah, but I'm saying like,
But
yeah,
send them out to
regularly.
everybody, you could send them out to every business that's on there now, and, some will fall off, like Volker's firm, I don't know, if he's still down here doing business, I don't think he's doing business in the city anymore, you know, but we could send them out to every
Mhm.
business that's on there, just remind them that it's due.
You don't know it. You're in business, you all know you have to pay an occupational license.
Who's in charge of collecting that fee?
The clerk.
Okay.
And we've had change over there, and so we are re-implementing these things kind of, and that's why you saw the post. I've got to start somewhere. So the easiest thing was, hey, start paying, you know, I sent that letter out, or made that post, and then Megan started sending letters out now. And it's really just to kind of tell it, we're not trying to threaten anybody, we just want them to come pay it. And then we can send out letters again here in a. But they're working on implementing a lot of new things back in.
And again, it's nothing new. I remember seeing that in businesses when I was a child.
Well, every other city, it's the privilege of doing business in that city, is what the way they word it. That's why you have a fee, and then some have taxes on net profits, but you know, the fee is the privilege to come in here and do business. The net profits is you're paying on the money you made doing that business.
One place was a little country store out in the cities.
I mean, I was actually surprised how many of them are just outside, like vendors or handyman or worker, like that kind. There's a lot on that list. I was actually kind of shocked. So I mean, at least these outside people coming in seem to know more. I don't know if maybe there's just a lot more of them because of all the roof repairs that we had from all the hail damage. Because I do know, I think they were going around them and enforcing that, then telling that the roofing contractors after that hailstorm that they all had to get them, and that might be why there's a lot of roofers on that list right now. But. Is that all you have for your committee?
Mm-hmm.
I know you want to speak, Mr. Merlin. Go ahead.
I'm prepared to speak, but these two topics come up. On the taxes, you talk about mom and pop stores and all. We don't have any mom and pop stores. When I came here, 90% of the business was owned by people who lived in Falmouth. Today, 90% of the business is owned by people who don't even live in the state. And you're sitting here worried about that 10% that you're going to hurt, and whether they're going to make enough to make the $50 payment for a business tax. Now, the way most of the ones that I have read of the gross property tax, if the business doesn't make enough over the 50 or 75, they just pay the 50 or 75 minimum. Everybody pays something, but if you don't even make enough to get over the 50, then that's all you pay. But if you're Marathon or McDonald's, which I say is taking in the most gross amount of money in the city every day, that goes on. And you're trying to reinvent the wheel. There's other cities that's got to have been through this, and I would think the Kentucky League of Cities you ask about whether Kroger trucks and all those trucks that come in here, that's what's killing it. The online business is what's killing the business in Falmouth. That's more prominent than him and the dollar stores. I know people who once a week, two sisters, they go to Walmart, get their groceries, come back every week. I know another person never leaves the house. She buys all her groceries online. She buys her Christmas present online. She buys her clothes online.
Hey, I might be one of those people.
Huh?
I might be one of those people.
Well, I'm just saying that's what's killing us.
No, and he's going to look into how we go about looping them in. That's what we're talking about. So Steve's going to look into what we do to go after them. I think the only concern, and you could structure your gross receipts to go. They have to hit a certain amount to qualify. But I think the issue with the gross receipts is it doesn't matter if they made money or not. They're going to have to pay.
You know how much the county brings in for their payroll tax?
For the whole county, it's like $1 million, a little bit. I think maybe 1.2 or somewhere around there.
They're bringing in 1.3 million a year.
And they're bringing in off the city. Yeah, so it's They're bringing in,
Well,
it's like,
altogether, they're not making any exceptions for anybody,
Yeah.
period. But of course, they got Carmoose, they got 300 school teachers, company he works for. Plus, everybody got to realize, we got 4,500 people leave this county every day to work elsewhere. And I'll guarantee you, 98% of them are paying a payroll tax.
yeah, I am.
And when you talk about feeling sorry of putting 0.5%, 1.5%, 2%, all right, McDonald's has got 14,000 stores in the United States. They got 40,000 stores worldwide. So they've seen every kind of tax up and down the line. So you've got to word your ordinance or whatever you're gonna do to cover those people that have dealt with this for years. And we're 30 years behind every city around us. If you go on there, they've got a payroll tax. Wilder down there, they've got less than 300. They got $3.5 million budget. Is our budget 1.3 or what?
The general fund is about 1.2, 1.3.
Okay, I don't even know what the city is, but to me, it's a no-brainer. You're either if you're gonna try and raise some money, you can't talk about nickels and dimes. You've got to get everybody that's leading us blind. You're talking about who rents what and who owns what, and who people are gonna get hurt with a payroll tax. You can start out here, south of town, 27, with Total Care. All right, that's owned by a man from Moorhead. He's not totally independent. He's got 8 stores in 4 different counties. All the pharmacists there, and one out at CVS, they're the highest paid in there. None of them live in the city. 2 of the employees and the dentist, they're from Grant County. 2 of the employees live in the county. And I know 2 of the people at Total Care live in the county. You come down, you got State Farm. The gal there, yellow, she lives in Lexington. She let her sister run the business, but she lives out of here and living well, I would say. Then you look across the road and there's the apartment building there. Miss Close owns that. Miss Close lives in the county, but she's making money off of her rentals there. My thought is, if you own property or houses other than the one you live in, it's a business, and it's a business, and you should be taxed as such. You could come on down crossing the cemetery at the apartment building there. That's owned by Kofendorfer girl, lives in Alexander. Nobody. What I'm saying, the people that are bleeding us dry don't even live here, and we are sitting here letting them do it. We have been for years.
No, and I'm trying to fix, that's why I'm making.
Well, I'm just
letters
saying,
out,
you
yeah.
got to be more aggressive than sitting there worrying about a mom and pop store. Because that mom and pop, I've seen it for 60 years. Every time, a lot of them open up, they might last a year. I mean, they just tried it. Most of them was people who shouldn't open up in the first place. They couldn't make the business. Well, I'll get off of that one, because you want to go home. The other thing I was going to talk about is your public meeting you're having about the fire department. Now, what is the purpose of that?
To hear from the public what they would like to see for the future of the city's fire service.
What's the opinion of the council? Are you divided or all one way, or?
They've never we've
We
never,
really talked about it.
that was kind of it, it was, they
Haven't
wanted
talked
to.
about it.
Really, we wouldn't see what.
Well, let me say this. I've been here a long time, and over the years, every time a new judge or new mayor, we got into a big squabble. It's been going on for 60 years. Falmouth has provided the fire service. I came in 65, they've been doing it then, and did it up to here a year or 2 ago. But every year, it's what the county was gonna pay. They didn't want to pay what the city thought. I mean, that's why they stayed back and forth all the time. Okay, now that the county has decided to put a fire department less than a mile away from us, let them have it. we're all paying county taxes, it seems that everybody lives in the county. I've always wondered why we're paying double for some things.
We're paying
But-
double for almost everything.
Yeah, but, well, my thinking
Well,
is, unless somebody tells me
Yeah.
different,
It's
a different argument, I'm for letting the county support.
Me too.
And we'll pay our part with our property taxes like everybody else. But our
Well,
city
they're gonna bill
property,
you, so either the city's gonna have to pay the bill, or they're gonna bill the residents like they do out in the county. If they respond to a call to your house, they bill they bill them.
what was that?
They bill for when their runs, the county bills the county residents for their runs. The county billed the county residents for when the city would make the runs. That's how they would recoup some of the money they were getting. The county charges, there's a bill that they send if they respond to a call,
Well,
depending on what they
well,
send out, so.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Let them have it. However you negotiate that, whatever fire engine we got. Because we've paid, I know for 60 years I've lived here, the city provided fire protection. And we had a lot of guys that worked their butts off. They had a good bunch of young guys, and they had a lot of older guys that took an interest in it. And the county did nothing except argue over what was going to pay the city. So now, I don't know if is that still open agreement whether to have one or not have one, or what, how's that work?
Do what?
The fire department.
It's set by an ordinance, so it'd be up to the council to amend it and take the ordinance out, so.
Well, I would agree with that unless somebody comes up with a better argument. Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
It's dry, I can't talk.
Any other public comments?
Questions.
Sure.
Is there a noise ordinance in the city?
I don't think there's a noise ordinance, but there's kind
A
of like
nuisance.
a nuisance that
Yeah.
it's like a
Nuisance.
catch-all. I don't think there's any noise ordinance that says it must not be over this decibel or whatever.
A noise ordinance is really hard because you have to basically send a law enforcement officer out with a little decibel meter and capture time, and otherwise it's a pointless ordinance and you can't enforce it.
Okay, so would nuisance be, I guess, a different, what I'm talking about is, and I've never lived anywhere that has allowed this to happen since Rumpke took over the garbage here. 4:47 a.m. last week, 4:43 yesterday morning, slamming and banging dumpsters, waking everybody in your house. Actually, yesterday morning, I got up, my son got up, and he had a ball bat going outside with it because he thought somebody was actually running into the house. That's how much noise they were making.
I can send a message to Rumpke and let them know that.
And it's neither my here or there, but we had better service out of the garbage guys that worked for the city than we are getting from Rumpke. We had to keep our lids and stuff on our cans now. They come take your lids off. You gotta go a block, here, there, wherever, to find your lids to go back on your can. The one that is on wheels, that is the toter thing, every time he empties it, I've got half of next week's garbage already left in it when he puts it back. So they're not doing what they get paid to do.
If you wanna call, the best I can do is let Rumpke know, but you're the customer. If you wanna call and complain to them, like, that's not, the city's really not involved as far as I can just relay the message, but I'm not.
And if Rumpke's done a bad job, you can have them come back and they will send a truck back in to get the garbage that is left in there.
Cause there's been other issues and they've come and they've corrected it, so I'm saying, like, I could reach out and let them know, and I will let them know though about the noise.
Okay, last question. House next door again. I got an attorney, and that attorney said I need the name of the politician that's south or whatever that you're talking about that's stopping anything from.
So if you look up, I can give you the case number, and your attorney can go on the CourtNet website and he can pull up the case number. We've got a judgment, but the master commissioner is not. So I'll give you the case number, your attorney can go look it up. Collins is doing it, Collins doesn't wanna do it anymore. Is that it? Okay. Any other questions? Alright. I know, I need y'all the motion to adjourn so I can leave.
Making sure no one else had anything to say.
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.